Now I'm very happy to welcome back an amazing handicapper, oddsmaker, and longtime friend of the show who works on both sides of the window, Mr. Raphael Esparza from Doc Sports and MyBookie.com to the odds breakers. You can follow him on X at VSI Doc Sports, and I think it's also MyBookie.ag, the real place. But thanks again for coming on, Raph. I know you're a very busy man. You a lot of WrestleMania going on in your life. How you been?
Yeah, throwing WrestleMania and a very powerful passing yesterday as well that people can jump on. So it's been a crazy. I love perfect example. My neighbor came in town. I had a couple drinks with him out front. And what's the first thing he says? Oh, you must be very slow now with football season being over. I wanted to punch him and throw him in the middle of the street. Because no, just because the almighty NFL is not playing or college football is not playing, people just think I just sit around and watch AMC reruns or Big Bang Theory reruns all day long.
We had the Masters. Yeah, I mean, college basketball just ended. There is just so much going on, really. It's crazy. I think the only real break is July. That is,
All-Star baseball,
yeah,
All-Star break. I tell people I get it probably 2 to 3 days of maybe 25% of work.
yeah. And it's literal on July, and you're still doing MLB and UFC and WWE for you. But for me, at least, the horse racing's over by then. The NBA is over because I do NBA playoffs myself, and MLB is still rolling, but I still do the UFC. So it's just a little bit better for me from July. Actually, it's just basically July. So it's July because August is preseason football. So
You still got what? You still got you got UFL, CFL going on around that time. You still have horse racing. Santa Anita's running. Los Alamitos is still running. Come on, Kiev. Put the grind in. Put the grind in.
yeah. Santa Anita's got the racetrack. The Derby is earlier. But yeah, you're right. I don't do as much horse stuff as some of my other guys here, so I pawn that off. But I also will try to take a vacation or two in July, my man. I'm going to go back to the northwards of Wisconsin and fall for two when we're in the water skis. Maybe I bust them out and see if my knees hold up again. Back like I did in the day. But
So
that's
football future show, you're being a cast. Is that what you're telling me?
very, very possible. Very
Okay,
possible.
just want to make sure.
At least very bruised. Very bruised. Hopefully nothing more serious. And we'll just have to have an AI key out there with them. So maybe we'll work on the AI deal. I'm sure it's right on the list for AI people to make AI of us. Let's talk about the draft, man. I always like to ask, what are your thoughts on the strength of this draft compared to others as a whole?
It was hard for me to find a strength because I think you would probably agree with me because I've spoken to a lot of people. This might be one of the weakest NFL draft class just because of the quarterback position alone. I tell people, I think this is one of the worst quarterback drafts. Yes, Cam Ward, number one. But after that, I'm sorry, it's a crapshoot. Wide receivers, the first two wide receivers will go. And then you have a whole bunch of ones that you could probably get fourth, fifth, sixth round. A running back, same thing, one, and then everyone else. So for me, I think 4 or 5 years from now, we're like, wow, this person came out of the 2025 draft. What a steal he was if you got him in a third, fourth round. Because there's a lot of names that I don't think no one knows. But 4 or 5 years from now, we're like, wow, I can't believe that so and so got them in the fourth round, fifth round. I just don't see that name that we've seen year after year after year.
Yeah, absolutely. It is based on the quarterback strength, really, the overall strength of the draft. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be a lot of running backs that have some promise, and there's going to be a lot of, probably a lot of edge rushers that you can find, but mostly it's because of the quarterbacks that make it weak, and that's how it's really gauged. It's none of our faults for thinking like that. But I think that maybe it's better for safeties, but who talks about that? This draft is a good safeties draft, but nobody cares about that. So
I think the punters are really good this year in the draft. No one does it.
I think there's a kicker that only might miss 2 a year.
Yeah.
Let's not pull a 49ers and draft a kicker in the third round, please. How about 1 through 5? So there's been some noise out there, And you can call it news or noise. I think it's noise, but that the second and third are shopping. They're just doing due diligence, in my opinion. Do you have any special thoughts on how it will go 1 through 5?
Well, I think this is when the betters have their advantage. Don't be reading the noise. Don't be reading the ticker on ESPN or Fox Sports, whatever you get your news source from. Just because you see something on the ticker, or you see something on the left side of ESPN, does not mean it's 100% true. Do your homework. This is reason why the sports book called the NFL Draft Customer Appreciation Day, because they never win on the NFL Draft. So if you do your own homework, do your own reading, do your own research, you can find steals on this one. This is one of those ones where, yeah, Cam Ward going number one. But 2, 3, 4, 5, I think it'd be all over the place. Whatever happens on number two, I think dictates what happens on three, what happens after three. Then I think it dictates 4 or 5, how many quarterbacks go. I mean, we're going to see a lot of difference. So, yeah, I can name it. Travis Hunter probably going number two. But, okay, where does Carter go? Where does Campbell go? Where does Graham go? Where's Warden go? It's all mix and match on this one. I still can't believe some people have the running back from Boise going in the top 6, top 7. So it's just crazy. Normally, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Keith. Normally we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right away. I mean, okay, so and so is going to take this one, so and so is going to take this one. Normally we'll see maybe a trade to get a third or fourth, maybe to grab a quarterback. But if that trade happens, we already know what that team's going. They're going to go for the second quarterback or the third quarterback. No one's calling and say, hey, you know what? I want to take Carter. Hey, I want to give you a first round draft pick because I know Cam Ward's going second, and we don't know what the second round pick, but we want Carter. So we're going to trade you. We're not hearing any of that because of, you said it, is the weak quarterback class. I think that's why 2, 3, 4, and 5 are such up in the air.
Yeah. I think that the truth is, from my thoughts, there's only two positions or two players that might be worth the normal amount given to get up to him, and that's Carter and Travis Hunter. Because I'm not high on the quarterback, I'm not high on most of the quarterbacks. Matter of fact, I wouldn't have them in my top 4 if it was last year if I bunched them all together. Cam Ward is probably my third or so. I think that I actually think Shedeur Sanders is the highest floor because I don't think his dad's going to let him fail. And he's already proven he played in a lot of expectations with Deion Sanders as his dad. So those two little things, I think carry more weight than a lot. I think Cam Ward could be a bust. He played with the top talent in the league. I've said that a lot. There's no guarantee here. And sure, he was clutch at Miami, but dude, if you put me around a bunch of Alabama players, I might even score some points. It's not. It's not. It's got to be decided based upon your competition, and that's another reason why I said it already about 5 times on the show. I don't want to keep talking about it. I think Genty is not the best running back necessarily, and I think that if you played like if you're Iowa and you played in the Mountain West, they'd be talking about their guy Johnson. I in my opinion, I wouldn't reach for any of them. And the truth is that this draft, because of the fact that it seems so weak to me, and there's going to be less trades, it makes me feel like the positional bets were more where I attack it, because at least I know where a team might need somebody, and I look at what happened on free agency and who's traded and who retired. And when there's holes in the team, and then I'm sitting there at plus 300 on some of it, even though, they're not an offensive lineman or so, I'm like, maybe they go a safety, maybe they go a cornerback, And so I think it makes it so players can draft, or teams will draft for need, just because there's no best player available, because pick 3 through 45 ain't that big of a difference.
I mean, I understand why people think Gentry would go to the Raiders, because the Raiders were awful at the running back position last year, dead last in pretty much all categories. They couldn't get a first down on first and or goal line or anything. Their running game was just horrible. That makes sense, but do you really want to waste a number 1 pick on a running back when you can get the kid from Iowa? There's other ones. There's a kid from Tulane, or went to Tulane, that's in the draft. There's so many other options out there in the second, third, or fourth pick. Do you really want to waste your first round pick on a running back? Granted, the running back had a nice emergence the last couple of years after the 3 years ago where we bashed them. Oh, you don't need a running back. Running backs stink. It's the most they're paid. The kicker should be worth more than running backs. And I mean, it was a worst time to be a running back. And all of a sudden, Barkley comes around and everyone's running the ball, and now it's the best time to be a running back. But I just don't. I understand Raiders' position, but do you really want to roll the dice on that first round pick on the position? I believe when you said top five, my third best person in the draft is a tight end from Penn State, Tyler Warden. I mean, I think he's the. If I had a draft, I think he's number three. I'll take Ward. I have Carter number two, and I'll have him number three. I think he's going to be a stud just because of the tight end position now in the NFL.
You have him over Hunter though, so that's interesting.
Yes.
I have him going fifth to the Jaguars. It's funny, and I've mentioned that before last week, but I think the Jaguars are so up in the air. I said that they're going to draft the tight end first at plus 1,700, and even if they trade back, I can still hit that bet. You know, the thing is that Warren is the third best, in my opinion, too. I think he's a great tight end. He's amazing to get block. He doesn't miss passes. He's a smart football player. He's pretty fast. He's a beast, and I 100% agree, and that's why I took such a long shot. I do think it goes, though, Ward, Hunter, and then Carter, and then Campbell probably. I'm not sure what the Patriots will do, but probably Campbell. And then I took a long shot because I'm not buying the Mason Graham stuff as much. Maybe the Jaguars do draft Mason Graham, but he doesn't excite me. I think there's guys better than Mason Graham in this position, to be honest with you. I mean, he's
the
great,
Hunter people. I don't want the Hunter people to say, "What you this guy's crazy." Now you think the only thing that scares me about him is how's he going to take negativity from a coach that's not Sanders. That's the I mean, that's what scares me in that position. Because okay, you have a coach that's hard on you, and you're taking this negativity, or you're not used to the. I hate to use the word abuse. You're not used to getting the negativity thrown at you, and all of a sudden, okay, you're only going to play one position now. How's he going to react? And your coach's last name's not Sanders.
Is he going to play one position? I don't know. If I was them, I'd say slot receiver and nickel corner and see what one does better, and then you make more of an actual 1 or 2 corner or a number 1 or 2 receiver out of whatever side you decide, and then you just have them play the lower amount, the third down cornerback or the slot receiver, which is usually third down, right? But they sometimes do slot and first down if you're the Lions and other teams, So I think that he's definitely going to be more of an injury risk in the NFL, where players are big and crush you, and you're playing it's just a function of being out there, more chance of injury, right? So that's another big worry that you have for a guy like Hunter. Well, that's great, good answers, and glad we line up kind of like on our thoughts on Warren, man. Jacksonville. Do you know who their top tight end is on their depth chart? And I had to look it up myself because I didn't know offhand. Do you know who it is?
Can't be. Nope.
It's kind of a strange one because his name is Brenton Strange, and I don't know if you heard of that. But number 1 is Brenton Strange. Number 2 is Johnny Munt. Number 3, Hunter Long on the current draft. What are you doing at tight end? At least you get the best tight end in your position. That's why I'm like, why the hell would you not draft Warren if you're the Jaguars? So that's my 2 cents.
That's why they're the Jaguars.
They are the Jaguars, and they will disappoint. So I don't expect them to do anything right. And that brings me to my question about Genty. Where do you think he goes? I think he goes to the Bears, and because the Bears are, they're not that smart of a franchise, and they don't see some of the things that I believe is true, that he just had a very easy time. Not saying he's not going to develop, but he's 4.42 speed and 5'9". He's kind of like an Austin Eckler to me. I think the Bears do kind of fall for it because they just spent a bunch of money on the offensive line and the defensive line. I mean, they could use other positions. I would say, if I were the Bears, in my mock, I said what they should do is get another offensive lineman. But I think I think that the Raiders have some influence by Tom Brady, who's he's never needed to flourish with a running back. It was always just him making the plays. I think maybe they understand that even Genty's on the team, it doesn't mean he's going to move the ball unless they go offensive tackle. So I have them getting Membow or somebody, but I think Genty would go to the Bears. How about you?
I like the Bears. You nailed it. That you stole my thunder. I think they go for that offensive tackle from Texas. I do believe Banks. I can't think of his first name off the top of my head. Just drew a blank. I think they go for him. If the Raiders don't take him, then I think Gentry falls in the second round. I just
Yeah,
don't see. I just don't see anybody else picking him up. So I disagree on the Bears. I just think they signed or they picked up two new offensive tackles, and I still think they build around the offensive line. So I think they should take Banks and not worry about a running back. But it wouldn't shock me if he doesn't go. If he doesn't go to Bears or Raiders, then I think Gentry's a second round pick.
I mocked Banks to the Raiders. That was my mock pick, and I think if they did that, they get it right. But unfortunately, the Bears, I think, will probably grab Genty. But let's find out. I did bet Genty over 9.5, which I'm worried because Denver could also trade down to the New Orleans Saints, who just might get Sanders later, and Denver trades down to the Saints, and then they grab Genty. So I think my 9.5 might be screwed. But now you can get 6.5 over plus 300. So I have a terrible number on that one.
Gentry to the Saints makes sense just because of the injuries that Saints had in the backfield with Taysom and I can't think of the other guy.
Carr?
Who's no, not Carr, the other running back. I can't think of it for the Saints
Oh,
running back.
running back. I thought you said quarterback. Yeah. I mean, Calvin Kamara is.
Yeah, Kamara. Thank you. I think if Hill and Kamara can't be healthy for a whole season, I would not be shocked if they maybe try to pick up Gentry and the Saints fans are pissed.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Let's talk some player positions then. And you know what's interesting about these positions is that there's some juice on most of them. It's kind of like betting UFC, or betting baseball, I guess, hockey, money lines. It's a money line situation here. But let's run through the DraftKings ones, and you can just pass or tell me what you think.
Well, I want to jump on. I forgot you earlier. I don't know if you early before you. I don't know if you answered me. You asked me if I bet props. I forgot I have another one. I bet first safety, which you made fun of the safeties. That's why when you made fun of that safety joke, it prompted me. I have Starks being the first safety to be picked up when he was even money. I think now I saw minus 120 and Nick and Milwaukee with like minus I think 105 or something. But I got even money on Starks. I think he's the first safety to go.
Ooh, that's good. I wanted to bet safeties over like a half, like 0.5, and I didn't get that yet. I'm looking for that. I don't have any books with that.
I don't think I've seen that. I'll look. I'll look around for you, but I haven't seen that either.
Thank you. Saints and safeties and linebackers I'm not seeing, which kind of will throw people's minds off if they're counting players. It's like those are going to really throw people off.
It's funny how you said
some of these 115 and 115 minus 115 on each side with Amenawari and Stark. So you're right. You do have a good number on that.
It's funny how you said some of these props are juicy. And this is the most juice I've seen on all these total SEC players, Big Ten. It's the most I've ever seen. Because I think the books are starting to they're tired of losing in the NFL draft. I think their mentality now is, okay, we're going to put this prop up. We're going to put the juice so high that it's only for entertainment purposes only, and no one's going to bet it. So some of these juices I've seen in player prop bets and SECs and stuff like that, I've never seen them this high. And I think the books are just tired of taking not just the L, but a big fat L when it comes to the NFL draft, because I've seen a lot of heavy juice this year.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not just that the juice is not matching up with the squeeze. It's not matching up with it's showing minus 115 lines on each side. That's what the juice is doing, and they still haven't adjusted 2 days before the freaking draft that we're talking right now. So that's annoying, and they don't care because they're sick of taking a loss, which sucks because we want to. I would say that most of them are going to keep their accounts anyway, and it's not like they're going to run away with their money. And I think it's just they'll get it back. I think it's stupid that they're doing this, and it's lame. And maybe we'll just look to more books like Matchbooks and stuff like that if they're going to be like this. We'll just find our business. We'll take our business elsewhere, right? We'll walk away if we have to. So screw you, books. I like your first safety pick. I have him and Amenawari. Very, very comparable players. So I actually think two safeties do get drafted in the first round personally. I think the Vikings need one. There's a few out there. So it's usually not a first round play that they grab a safety or a linebacker, but I think this is a very unique draft, especially when there's no wide receivers getting picked. It's normally teams are screwing up with wide receivers. You know how much I hate receivers in the first round. So
You hate him? Do you hate him as more as mine as a running back in the first round? Do you think wide receivers in the first round is worse? I'd love to
yes.
hear your point on that.
No.
Really?
Sorry. No. Wide receivers
Oh,
are
okay.
better than running backs. I mean,
Okay.
I still think some Marvin Harrison and stuff, who didn't have a great year, but maybe because of the quarterback. But I think that there's still first round. I have two first round graded wide receivers, and I have 0 first round graded running backs because even though I think Genty's going in the first round of the Bears, I don't think it's the correct way to do it. So it's always the difference between what you would do and what these teams are going to do, and that's the fun of the draft. You're figuring it out, these GMs, and
I was talking to a guy that bets MMA, like that's his religion, and he loves the NFL, but doesn't bet the NFL more like he does MMA. And I told him total running backs under 2.5. I do believe at the time we were talking was minus 230. I don't know what it is right now. I go, if you're an MMA better, and he bets a lot of chalk, he'll bet a minus 250 to win $100. That's the type of bet he is. Why would you take under 2.5 running backs? That juice is just like you're sitting down watching UFC on a Saturday.
I did.
Am I correct on it?
I took it.
So did
I took under 2. I think I had like maybe minus 200 or something. I'm gonna look to see now that you said that what juice I did pay for that. First round running backs under 2.5. I paid minus 155 when I made the play.
I mean,
Probably,
DraftKings still has it minus 250 right now. I mean,
I
if
think so.
you bet baseball and or stuff like that on money lines, but if you see something that I hate to use the word easy or something. I can't even think of the third running back that would kill my bet in the first round. Saying I can't believe I just lost it. I can't even name a third quarter running back in the first round.
I mean, it would have to be Travion Henderson or Quigshon Junkins, but it would be stupid because why would you do that when you have you got Scadaboo, you got Johnson from the Iowa, right? You got Benjamin. You got some great running backs in this draft, and it hurts them because it's such a deep position now, and it makes them drafted later. It's not our fault, that it's like that. But no, I don't even see a lot of mocks. I don't even think Omari Hampton gets in the first round, buddy. I don't, So I think I think Denver needs a running back, kind of.
Yes,
but it's not like, but it's not like they can't get by without one because they just picked up somebody. It's leaving my mind now, so I'm going to quick pull up their depth chart. They have Jaleel McLaughlin, but they drafted Audric Estime last year. So they spent, I don't know, a fourth rounder on Estime. It's like, sure, give up on him already. He was kind of hurt last year. He's a Notre Dame guy. It's like, why would you just give up on that so quick? I think even Denver is smart enough with Sean Payton to wait till the second round to get anybody. So, I would bet under 1.5 plus money if it was out there. Where are we at? Draft positions, right? I got to find it again here. And this is kind of relevant to the juice. So I'm not going to say what you think is going to happen at 50-50, but what side of the bet would you take, being that this is a betting show? Starting with Armand Membao, draft position over 6.5 minus 280, under 6.5 minus 210. The obvious one for this is probably the 6th pick in the Raiders. Do they get Membao, or does Membao fall to the Jets at 7? Right?
I think he falls to the Jets at 7.
Okay, that's where I have them too. So I would go over 6.5, but I'm not going to lay on this 280 when the Patriots could do something to you too. Ashton Genty, draft position over 6.5, under 6.5. I think we both answered this one already.
Yeah.
I think.
Hope he's not watching. Hopefully he's not watching.
Tom Brady, you tell them guys not to draft a running back. Cameron Ward, draft position over 1.5, under 1.5, and under 1.5 is minus 20,000. So we think it's one, but dude, if I had to make a bet, gun to the head, I would take the crappy 16-1 and bet that. God, here's the juice on this. You have to lay 200
Yeah.
to 1, and you only get 16-1 on the comeback. What? It's bad.
It's
It's
I
bad.
saw that. I forgot what book I saw it in, and I'm like, why would you even post that? I mean, like
It's
I do a
the
lot of, me, I do a lot of stupid prop bets and stuff like that, and there's ones that I think, oh, it's going to be like minus 10,000 on the yes. I just don't put it up because I know some of these are just clickbait, and they can maybe post something on social media. If you don't think Cam Ward's going, no is blah 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 blah. But it's just, yeah, I'm a little bit blown away that we have all known Cam Ward was going number one for months.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Offering you 16-1. What a trash offering. And Colson Loughlin's over 17.5 at plus 270, under 17.5 at minus 400. I believe that should be 310. Because these are the juice lines, the 30-cent lines, right? It sucks. But it's I would say Loveland under minus, but it's minus 400, and I think I wanted to bet that and forgot about it or something, but I didn't. I have Loveland going to the oh god, I think I have Loveland going into on the number 17 actually. I'll have to look. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
So, I agree with what you said, but I'm gonna jump back on the juice of being 30 cents and all that. This is the books telling you we just want the guys that just signed up to get the SGP $5. Sign up for the $5 and get the $200 back. They put the 30 cents for, I don't like to use the word wise guys, but the guys that are doing their research when it comes to NFL draft, not double popping them and they're going to get kicked out after the NFL draft is over. I'm just saying the people who are doing their work, they say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna put $50 on this, I'm gonna put $100 on this. Not saying, hey, I'm gonna put a nickel or a dime on this, and that's when the people get kicked out. But that's why they use a 30-cent line. It's not because they just money grabbing. They just want those people who signed up on ESPN or the commercials that they saw. Bet $5 on your first bet, get what 200, whatever their bonuses are. So I like when people put them out and say, "Oh, 30 cents line, you can't bet there," but they don't want the person who just said that to bet there.
Right, right. That great points, and that's just awful. I have Loveland to the Colts. Uh,
Really?
that's 14. Well, and it's stupid because I have a dynasty fantasy league where I have to draft Jelani Woods and I drafted Kalen Granson. They just can't throw to tight ends. But I mean, the truth is if you're really going to see if Anthony Richardson's a bust, which we all know he is, but they don't. I mean, you have to have somebody to catch the ball for him that's pretty tall, and I think Colson Loveland fits the position there. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they can go a lot of directions. I said they should pick Shamar Stewart, but this is why I like Loveland under 17.5, I guess, even though it's minus 400. I'm not betting it, but
I like the Colts if either the cornerback from Michigan, what's his name, Will Johnson, or edge rusher from Marshall that I think has a lot of upscale on this one. I think he could be one of those guys I said 4 or 5 years ago. Say,
Green.
wow, I can't. Yes, Green. Thank you, Mike Green. I
Okay.
think this is one of those guys where we're talking 4 or 5 years. Wow, I can't believe he went 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th in 2025 draft just because he went to Marshall. So half the people who are looking at the screen right now or looking at the mock drafts like, who the heck's this guy from Marshall? Was he in the movie with Matthew McConaughey? This is one of those sleeper ones, I think.
Everyone bookmark this for Raphael. Make sure that you call him out or congratulate him in a couple years. I think that teams are scared for his charges that he got against them a little bit, over the.
I agree on that. I forgot about that. You're right.
And
Hey,
I
it's a
it
steal for a
does
team that's going to get him then.
well. It's either greatness or handcuffs. I mean that's why people mock him to the Cowboys. But I think that
Poor Cowboy fans.
I agree they should go to the end though. I put they should go that, but Loveland in itself. The Mecca Ibuka over 29.5 plus 200, under 29.5 minus 275.
Little juicy for minus 275, but I mean, I sound like a broken record. Betting the betting the NFL draft or pretty much any kind of draft stuff like this, where you're gonna have high positions, and you say, "Oh, there's no value; it's too juicy." Well, then why do you bet UFC? Why do you bet boxing? Why do you bet when Shuta Imanaga is pitching for the Cubs and the Cubs are playing the Pittsburgh Pirates? I mean, this is the same stuff you're seeing, knowing that yeah, you have the best price available. And I'm not saying it's a shoe in, but the best person is playing, the best person is fighting, the best person's on the board. That's the price you're going to get. When I think it should be minus $5. I think if you're only laying 250 or something, and I believe it should be higher, then I believe it's value.
Who drafts Ibuka?
Oof.
Packers. I mean, the Packers never take a first round receiver.
No, I agree. I think they should, but it says that's not their ammo.
Yeah.
Man, that's a great question because that's one of the ones that is he going to the draft? Is he going to be sitting around?
I don't know.
Is he one of those who invite?
I have to relook at that list. That was on my to-do list today. I didn't get to it. So you know it won't be the Texans maybe because they lost a couple of guys. I mean, I have them picking Josh Simmons, but the Rams lost Cooper Kupp. I guess they could in theory do it. Not Baltimore, not Detroit, probably not Washington. And then you get the 30 with Buffalo. But I guess there's some takers there to make it not bettable for me. But yeah, great.
The Vikings maybe.
The Vikings had Jefferson and what's his face over there that's really good that they got last year. Addison, is it Addison?
Addison's still there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think their third guy, Jalen Naylor, did pretty good. Oh, and they picked up Rondo Moore off the scrap heap. So they got some dudes there.
It doesn't hurt to have too many when you have probably JJ.
Well, the Denver Broncos also, I want to talk to running back. I have them drafting T-Mac, and I have Golden going to the Cowboys because I think that Denver is a team that, they have after Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims, they have what? Devon Vele? I don't even know how to say his name. Maybe I did last year and just forgot. A.T. Perry, Troy Franklin, Trent Sherfield. Who they have nobody after Sutton and Mims. So I think they should draft a wide receiver. And that's did I bet that? What is Denver betting? Maybe that's a good play. Denver drafting a wide receiver. Let me pull it up here. Maybe we just found a fun little play to play while we do the show, which is always cool if that happens. Denver to draft a wide receiver plus 400.
Yeah, 400.
Yeah,
that's not worth a sprinkle or something.
That's worth it. That's worth it. I mean, they have nobody there. Even if you're wrong and it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean the bet wasn't smart. Let's do that, man. Let's do that. We'll do that.
I like that.
Maybe a quarter unit or something, plus 400. Sure.
I'll ask the wife for my allowance early, and I'll Venmo you.
All right. Well, look at that. We found a play. I like it. I think it's so bad there. Why not? And you know what? It could hedge out your little. That's where Ibuka can go too. So
yeah,
I like it. What's the next one we have? We have Jahdae Barron over 18.5 or under 18.5. See, I didn't believe all the noise that people don't like him. I think that these scouts are liars and they put out bad information because they want them. And I have him going way under that. I think I have him at like number 9 or something.
I'm trying to think. I think I have him 12. Hold on.
Oh no, I have 16, but that still gets under. I have him to the Cardinals. I have the Cardinals drafting Jahdae Barron at 16. So
I have question mark on the Falcons if they don't go edge.
It's minus 130 though, and so it's not as exciting as the one we just looked at.
No, boo.
All right, well let's move on. James Pierce. Over 31.5 minus 130, under 31.5 plus 100. So I think that, God forbid, he gets to the Eagles. They will grab him maybe, or the Eagles will get a defensive tackle. But I do have Pierce going to the Baltimore Ravens. I think they could go safety on the Ravens, but I have him hitting number 27. So I don't know.
It makes sense at the Ravens. I mean, or Detroit as well.
Yeah, I mean, for a while he was looked at as the second best
And
edge
minus
rusher.
130 is not. I mean, that's.
No, he's plus 100 to go under.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had it reversed. You're right.
Yeah, so I'm looking under for him. I think he's a first round guy personally. Um, we'll keep that in the maybe list for our Christmas presents. Okay. What's next? Jackson Dart over 24.5 minus 165, under 24.5 plus 130. Do the Steelers draft Jackson Dart?
I mean, today's the 22nd. Yesterday yesterday he was going to Pittsburgh. The other day he was going to the Saints. I mean, it's I, for the most important position in the league. I've never seen a draft that had so many question marks for the number one position in the league. If Cam Ward was not in this draft, would either Dart or Sanders be the number one pick overall?
I don't know. Here's what's weird about the Steelers situation. I took over 24.5 plus 150, so I have some good line value on this one. But here's the thing about the Steelers. They picked Kenny Pickett in that horrible quarterback draft. Do they want to get the third guy that's kind of like Kenny Pickett? It's not like he's that different.
No, but he's more mobile than Kenny Pickett, though. I'll give
Yes.
him that.
Yeah. Funny, Kenny did run a little bit at Pittsburgh, but just doesn't do it now. Yeah, Jackson Dart's more mobile. He's probably a little better. When we first saw Pickett get drafted, we weren't even sure. But here's another thing. Are they going to give FU to Mason Rudolph again? It's like, we were wrong to send Mason Rudolph away. Let's bring him back. And then now, let's spend our first pick of the draft on a quarterback. When you got
But do you really think they told Mason Rudolph, "Hey, we're going to bring you back, and you're going to be the starter"? I think he knows
they
that
said
he's not.
something. They said something that was apologetic. I'm not saying that it was the starter. I have to look it up again. But they said something that kind of came to me as like apologetic in a way. But at the same time, that's all he's done was the backup role, and it's like now you're bringing me to. I guess maybe nobody else wants him, so you can say that, which is probably
North
true.
Pole, maybe.
Pole, yeah. Some of the North Pole. I'm not convinced what the Steelers are going to do. I personally think you wait for a quarterback and just take a shot at like a Howard who won the freaking championship, who's 6'5". I think that you can. Yeah, I think these quarterbacks are so bad you just wait personally, but whatever.
I mean, because you still have Quinn Ewers still in the draft. I mean, granted, I don't, but I mean, he's played in meaningful college games, championship games. But if you have so many questions out there, bring him in and make him battle with Mason Rudolph, and then maybe roll the dice for free agency next year or the draft for a quarterback.
Yeah, sure. That's not bad. That's the plan, I think. But yeah, I say just look for next year's class maybe and just take someone late, and maybe the guy from Notre Dame, Fitzgerald or whatever. Maybe he turns out. I don't know. Anyone can turn out. He's a runner, but he's made some clutch plays. Jihad Campbell over 18.5 minus 320, under 18.5 plus 230. He's that linebacker from Alabama.
That's a tough one because I think he's kind of not going to be a successful linebacker in the league. I mean, I thought he was really good in college, but I don't know about NFL. This one was close. I would probably say under, but I'm not sold on it.
I have him going under. I'm not 100% sold because linebackers are so tough in the first round. I mocked him to the Bengals at 17, but the problem is if the Bengals don't take him, he'll go past the Seahawks and he'll go to Tampa Bay maybe, which is 19. So I don't like the fact that it's 18.5 early. If it was 19.5, I would take the under plus the money. But he's also got the injury problem, so he might start the year on the PUP list. So that's the problem. Malachi Starks, going against another situation here. Malachi Starks is interesting because he's a safety and he's over 23.5 at -200 or under 23.5 at +155. I have Starks going to the Vikings. And yes, they have to draft another Georgia safety like they did that one year, but they say the Vikings need a safety, just like the Texans or the Packers need a kind of a corner or a safety too. But I think that I would say over -200.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Mason Graham over 5.5 -310, under 5.5 +220. So now he's really getting the mocks on the Jaguars are going nuts because that flip.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on with the Jaguars? What kind of vibes are they sending out right now, man?
I don't know. I mean, when your owner has a son that's blowing money because of wrestling, with all his wrestling stupidity, I mean, it must be nice to have all that money because both the Jaguars and their wrestling programs are not doing too well.
the draft pick number for 5 is up to Genty at -110 and Graham at +220. So that's the flip. But Jesus, man, are the Jaguars going to pick a fucking running back when they have ETN?
I think I saw a mock draft having the Jaguars going or picking Gentry. I'm like, oh, really?
It's switching up a little bit. I think it's just noise personally, but I don't know. Beat writers get excited and they take things out of context. A lot of players like the Raiders said nice things about Genty, but they're not going to smear a guy. It's like I think it just moves the market too much. So this is weird. I also didn't like Mason Graham, as you knew, so I'm probably not betting it, but I would go under now at +220 if I had to bet it. But I'm not. Matthew Golden, draft position over 17.5, under 7, +130, under 17.5, -165.
I like the -165. I think it should be 220, 230. So I think there's value at -165.
Good call. I have the first receiver at +150 already, so I'm not going to mess with it. But I think it is under as well. So I would look more towards the minus on that one too. Mike Green over 17.5 or under 17.5 +260. The over is -360. Now this is the one that with the problems. So that's why the over is so juiced. But to be honest with you, it's unbettable to me. I would pick over, but I'm not taking it.
I agree.
Michael Williams, we have a few more. Over 15.5 +390 and under 15.5 -600. Michael Williams was at Georgia. What was he? A Georgia running a linebacker, edge rusher, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you, that +390 looks really something, maybe to sprinkle a little bit something, because we've seen stranger things when it comes to draft in that position. Because the top 5 can go crazy, and if anything happens in the top 5 or top 10, don't forget 15 all the way down to the first round, to their last pick in the first round, is affected because what happens up on top. So that looks very 390 looks really good. Am I going to do it? No.
I think I will do it. I have Michael Williams falling in the Commanders at 29. He was a great draft prospect, but he's nothing special. I think the +390 is worth it. That's what I think. So I'll do that one as well for a quarter unit for the show. Then we have Amarian Hampton 19.5 -300, under 19.5 +220. Bring back Amarian Hampton.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't mind the 220 because I thought it was going to be higher by Tuesday. I was very curious to see what the number is tomorrow morning when I wake up. Because I think the betting,
right?
Yeah.
So
yep.
That's
Denver.
the problem, and Denver can move up. And that they might get nervous. And I actually think they could move to 9 and grab Genty and screw up my first play. This is the most polarizing guy. That Shedeur Sanders over 8.5 -500, under 8.5 +350. I would pick over 8.5 now. I wouldn't bet it. I wanted him to be the first pick in the draft because, like I said, I think he's better than Ward, but for a prospect. But
I just can't remember the number 2 quarterback prospect in a draft has had so much scrutiny and so much question marks coming in, where people thought at one point he was going to be the number 1 pick. He's over Cam Ward, and now where some people are saying he's not even going to be in the first round pick. I just never seen so much disparity on this kid. And his kid's last name is Sanders. It's not like his last name is Smith
No,
or
Sanders, baby.
Esparza or Neil. I mean, you would
Not
think people would
Esparza.
like, yeah, you would think people are like, hey, you know what? He's a Sanders. He's probably well educated in the game of football. It's just anything, but I just never seen so much scrutiny. I'm glad he's not going to be there at the draft, because if he kept on falling, and they would put every chance of putting the Sanders family in the background, sitting and waiting. I'm glad that they chose not to go.
Me too. Let's move on to Tyler Warren, over 9.5 minus 225, under 9.5 plus 170, and the Bears are at 10.
You already know you already know my position. I think he was my number 3rd, talented. I think this guy's gonna be a stud.
So you think
I
even
think
though
it does.
third, okay,
I don't think number 3rd, but I think he goes really early. I just think that this position right now of tight end is so valuable now in the NFL. Not only is valuable, but you get the chicks as well. You get the famous people, the tight end position now these days. So I can see him going early.
all right. Let's move on to. And God, I missed this one. Who will Cam Ward? Some props. Who will Cam Ward hug first? Mom minus 210. Dad plus 175. Yeah. Mom was plus 100 at some point, I think.
I always bet Dad. One of these days, Dad's gonna get the first time. I always bet Dad.
Dad will never get it.
Come
Dad
on.
gets screwed constantly. Well, I think they know to hug their mom first. I think most of them are schooled to do that. Will Deion Sanders have sunglasses on? Yes, plus 150. No minus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
yes.
that's plus money. So I'm going with that one too. I'm going to bet that for the max bet on Bet Online.
So Bet Online does have how many trades will there be during round 1? Over 4.5 is plus 110. Under 4.5 is minus 150. I will always take the under in trades in the NFL draft, because it's never been a trade busy section of the NFL draft. You just don't really see them.
Trade for this year. I'll go under all day. I agree with you.
Because I'm almost positive. I think I'm going to do the research and I'll text you. I thought this number came out 7.5.
Who will be seen first? Cheesehead on player plus 200. Pizza in drafty home minus 300. Can I go neither? I don't have a neither.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, I guess you win your bet if your bet pushes if neither. But yeah, that's what I assume. You know, this is a dumb one. What's going to be seen first? A drafty drinking beer? I think maybe like a guy or two will slam a beer in the past, or drafty popping champagne. I'm gonna go with neither also, but popping champagne's minus 500.
Yeah. Well, these kids have a lot of money now for NIL, so I guess champagne.
Yeah, they're probably in the mansion by now watching the draft.
Yeah.
Mansion. Will Shedeur Sanders hug his dad first? That's minus 1,000. Whew. He hates his mom. Maybe his mom doesn't. Maybe his mom is like estranged, and they still put mom.
Maybe. Maybe I never thought about that. I never thought about that. That's very interesting. I mean, I like how Travis.
I think they're together. Actually, I kind of remember them being together, but his mom might not show up, or Sanders won't show up either.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if you didn't show up to the draft? You didn't show up to the draft when they have all this technology, and then there's no Wi-Fi in the home, so you can't see a picture after he gets drafted. It's like they have Wi-Fi issues.
That would suck. Will Travis Hunter's fiance cry? Yes, plus 150. No, minus 200.
Yes, I'd say probably yes.
Yes, but they have to show her.
Yeah.
Does it count as no if they don't show her?
Yes. Or no, it's a refund.
No, if it's a refund. So if they just show her for a split second and then move it off, and then she cries right afterwards, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed.
Well, Travis Hunter wear a turtleneck.
Yeah, it's cold up there in Green Bay, but Yes, minus 150. I guess he's a turtleneck extraordinaire or something.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I that's a trick question. I have to do more research on that one. That's interesting. Who'll be traded first in the NFL draft? Jari Alexander's at plus 400. Then you have Mark Andrews plus 500. Trey Hendrickson plus 500.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
I would say Trey Henderson because the Bengals pick quicker than the Packers, so you have more time maybe for that thing to go through. But it doesn't mean that's not going to happen earlier. It's either one can. Jalen Ramsey plus 600. You requested a trade.
What if Sanders goes and the Saints draft Dart to the Pittsburgh trade for Kirk Cousins?
That'd be insane. But they'd be paying Cousins a lot. Cousins is plus 800. So I don't know. I have to think more about that one, but it's I would go with. I don't think Henderson gets traded at all. Personally, I think Jalen Ramsey and Jari Alexander are the best. I'm not sure if they even want to trade Mark Andrews. To be honest with you, I know there's an issue there, but I would go with Jari or Jalen Ramsey for sure.
I think Anthony Richardson would be traded if he has a bad preseason, or we could go during that.
Man, we are up to our best bet or beer bet banger, whatever you want to call it. What do you have for us for the draft?
I'm going quarterbacks. I'm going total quarterbacks selected in the first round over 2.5 minus 130. 7 days ago, this was over minus $3. 7 days ago.
No.
7 days ago. 7 days ago today. It was
a better number.
And I think Jackson Dart. When I wrote this up for another stuff, I said Dart would be the big issue. Now, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Sanders could be the issue if I win this one. If maybe he doesn't get drafted now in day one, and he gets drafted now in day two. And it's just totally like blowing my mind on why the quarterback position has been so up in the air at this one. So I'm taking over 2.5, and I think Pittsburgh and New Orleans is the reason why I cash this over ticket.
All right. Well, there you go. I'm going to go with Mykel Williams, like we discussed, over 15.5 plus 390. I think it's a good enough price to take a shot at that. I know Mykel Williams is good, but I just don't know who's going to take him. I think that some edges go a little bit later. Now, I do have a few edge rushers going a little bit earlier in the first round, and what I'm worried about here is a little bit on the past Jalen Carter, obviously. I think there's a few guys like the defensive end. It's really, what do you call him? But Shamar Stewart can go early, but I just think that he doesn't stick out enough for me for him to go. So plus 390 on that one. So why not? It's good money. Plus 390.
I like it.
All right, my man. Well, that's great stuff. We covered a lot of stuff. Some fun props. I'm definitely taking a few of those. The plus 150 on the Deion Sanders will have sunglasses on. Yeah, he will have sunglasses on.
Yes, he will.
I guarantee that.
I don't even know what color his eyes are.
And he can even not have them on the first time, and then they can go to him and he can have them. Yeah. So yeah, I think his eyes are like some sort of black. Maybe I'm thinking, like look into your soul.
I don't think I've ever seen him. Remember in his football helmet used to be dark. He had the visor on in football. Remember his football helmet had visors, so you couldn't see his eyes then too.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. You can't tell. So maybe they're like some crazy like Dune movie type blue. How would that look?
One eye blue, one eye black. That'd be freaky.
That would be amazing. What else is amazing? Mr. Raphael Esparza, where could our guests get your great information in place for the NFL draft?
You can find me over at DocSports.com. You can find me on X at VSI.Sports. You can find me on Instagram at Raphael Esparza. And you can find me 5 days a week on Amazon Prime, DirecTV, YouTube TV, and Roku called Coaching Company. I'm one of the analysts there 5 days a week.
All right. Make sure you guys check out Raphael Esparza. Raph, best of luck to you in all of your draft plays.
Thank you.